Have you ever met someone who cheats at everything, not just D&D board games, card games? Guess who? This guy used his watch face as a mirror to see other people's cards. He faked dice rolls so often it was like a compulsion. And somehow he kept getting invited back. This is the story of the cringiest cheater in D&D history, and the genius DM who set a trap so elegant, so perfectly crafted, that he walked right into it, with his giant purple peacock tail and all. So our problem player is a 30-something-year-old man. His character is a dragonborn fighter named Krallis Dawnscream, supposedly chaotic good, and the very first red flag appeared before the very first session of their very first campaign. See, the DM gave everyone character creation instructions. Standard stuff. Follow the rules, build a level 1 character, nothing crazy. Krallis, level 1, stats all 16 and above, 320s, and for good measure he gave himself several rare magical items, including a legendary sword called Dawnbreaker. His justification: his character's name was Dawnscream, so obviously he should have a sword that matched his surname. That's like me naming my character Platinum Dragonslayer, and then arguing I should start with a platinum dragon's head mounted on my wall. That's not how names work, my guy. The DM told him to knock it off, lower the stats, follow the rules, but she offered a compromise: he could keep the magic items, but only if Krallis developed an allergy to magic. She insisted on it. And honestly, brilliant move. You want overpowered items at level 1, sure, but every time you use them you break out in hives. The DM was already setting the tone for how she handles this guy, and it's chef's kiss. After a few days of playing with a character who was allergic to his own gear, he finally caved, begged her to remove the allergy and the items. She let him redo his sheet, this time the right way. That lasted about 2 days. Old Krallis was back to having several stats soaring into 20. The DM caught it, and this time she got creative. She told the player she'd let him keep his strength and constitution that high, but since the most logical explanation for a level 1 character being this absurdly buff was serious steroid abuse, his wisdom was now 3. 3 as a direct result of Krallis's constant roid rage. So now he was a mound of muscle that could deal a ton of damage, but could only see and hit things directly in front of him. The DM made it a routine to check his character sheet every single week after that. You know your player is a problem when your weekly prep includes a character sheet audit. That's not D&D, that's accounting. Now here's the thing about Krallis. Out of game, his player would not shut up about how powerful and intimidating his character was. He boasted constantly. Krallis was going to wreck everything, Krallis was unstoppable, Krallis was the ultimate warrior. In actual combat, Krallis wouldn't do a thing. Got to jump over a 5-foot ditch to rescue the rogue who's pinned by a flameskull. The warlock and sorcerer are surrounded by a dozen skeletons. Oh wait, now the sorcerer is one-on-one with a ghost. Krallis would shrug, looks like they have it handled, and just walk away. Let me make sure I understand this correctly. You cheat to make your fighter the most powerful character at the table, and then you refuse to actually fight. That's like buying a sports car and using it exclusively to sit in your driveway and rev the engine. Just, why? He raved about the theory of Krallis, never the reality, the fighter that wouldn't fight. Some of the group were planning to attend PAX Unplugged, and the DM asked if anyone wanted her to run a one-shot there. The problem player said yes. Now, up until this point, she had only ever played with him online. This would be the first time meeting in person. Part of PAX Unplugged is a lending library of board games. You check them out, try them with friends, good times. In every single game they played that weekend, every single one, this player cheated. Constantly keeping cards instead of discarding them, hiding cards, faking dice rolls, standing up and pretending to stretch just to peek at other people's hands, walking right behind people to look over their shoulders, and my personal favorite, he used his watch face as a mirror to reflect cards in a Guess Who type game. The watch thing gets me every time. That's not just cheating, that's spy movie cheating. This man came to a board game convention with counterintelligence tactics. Who does that? It was unreal, almost compulsive. Someone would call him out, he'd go, oh whoops, and then do the exact same thing 2 minutes later while everyone stared at him. He'd pretend to be forgetful or claim he didn't know the rules. Every single time. This carried over into the D and D one-shot. He kept faking his dice rolls. The DM watched him slide the dice to the number he wanted, mime the motion of rolling, then just declare the result. At one point his character's spear took acid damage, and the DM told him to write down that it did less damage now. She watched him pick up a pencil, pretend to write, and then put it back down, without making a single mark on the paper. He didn't even try. That's the part that kills me. It's not sophisticated cheating, it's not clever. He literally pantomimed writing and thought nobody would notice, with the DM watching him, 3 feet away. She tried calling him out when she could, but his cheating was so constant, so unrelenting, that if she addressed every single instance, it would have derailed the entire game for everyone. The DM was furious. She vowed to never play another game with this guy. Word got back to the player and he apologized, profusely. He admitted he had an extremely unhealthy need to win. The DM told him that the point of games isn't to win, it's to have fun. His friends aren't his competitors or rivals, they're his friends. The player promised he would never cheat again, that this behavior wasn't who he really was, that he would be different. The DM was not convinced, but she was putting together a new campaign, and to get the players she wanted on board, she had to invite him too, so she gave him one more chance. Krallis Dawnscream returned. In the previous campaign he had somehow gotten himself into a romantic relationship with both a succubus and a doppelganger, but that's a whole other story. After one of their threesomes, Krallis washed himself in a spring that he knew was sacred to the goddess Selûne, desecrating it, on purpose. He received signs and omens that the goddess was coming for him and he just scoffed, said he'd never apologize. In this new campaign, Krallis was accompanied by the baby of the succubus and doppelganger. The baby doubled as a DMPC paladin, the party healer, basically, since nobody else wanted the job. The player was really into the Mandalorian at the time, and the DM hoped the baby would get him more invested in actually role-playing. It did not. He lost interest in Krallis after 2 or 3 sessions, and he kept forgetting the baby, just leaving it in buildings, in alleyways, like a set of keys he couldn't be bothered to keep track of. "Where's the baby?" "I dunno, I think I left it at the tavern." "Sir, that is a living creature entrusted to your care. This isn't a side quest item you stuff in your inventory and forget about." So the DM offered a solution. Krallis could go on a journey to study mindfulness and work on raising his wisdom from 3, a yoga retreat basically. And meanwhile, the player could switch to his character from the PAX Unplugged one-shot, an Aarakocra monk cleric named Zerkek Rayduing. Now the DM needed a token for this new character. The player never bothered to describe what he looked like beyond one word: purple. That's it, that's the whole description. The DM browsed through the options: owls, hawks, hummingbirds, and then she spotted it. She smiled. It wouldn't be difficult at all to get purple from peacock blue. The player loved it, a giant man peacock. He said it would accentuate Zerkek's flirtiness. "A moment of silence, please, for all of us." But the real genius, the absolute stroke of DM brilliance, came when she had to sort out his deity. See, as a cleric, Zerkek needed a god to worship. The player had picked some random homebrew deity that was basically a lazy Elder Scrolls ripoff. Fine for a one-shot, but for a full campaign, the DM wanted something more substantial, something that would give her a lever if she needed to rein him in. She told him to pick a new god. After a few seconds of lazy searching, he shrugged. "I'll just do one of the major good ones." The DM paused, and then she said something that would change everything. "Honestly, I really don't think you're capable of worshipping anybody other than yourself. In fact, as a cleric, why doesn't Zerkek just worship himself as his own god?" The player's eyes went wide. He would only serve himself. Exactly. And just like that, the DM planted the seed. A trap so elegant he didn't just walk into it, he sprinted. She spun the law. The other gods, fearful and jealous of Zerkek's power, banded together to bring him down. They locked his divine essence inside a mortal shell, an Aarakocra, chosen for their short lifespans, and threw his infant form before Knowles to be destroyed. But Zerkek survived, he thrived, and deep within him a tendril of his godhood remained, dormant, waiting, the only way to access it: pray to himself, sing his own praises, beseech his own blessing. The player was absolutely ecstatic. Now what would Zerkek be the god of? The DM mused. The player had nothing. So she suggested mirrors and reflections. a seemingly minor domain but with power that would belie appearances. The player immediately wanted mirror teleportation powers. The DM shook her head. At level 6, he'd have to work up to that. Do you see what she did? She handed him a character concept so perfectly tailored to his narcissism that he couldn't resist it. And baked right into the lore, into the very foundation of his character, was the premise that every god in existence hates Zerkek and wants him destroyed. He agreed to this, enthusiastically. Remember that, it's going to be important. And so Zerkek, the giant, scantily clad purple peacock monk cleric, joined the party. Introduced as Krallus's very, very close tent buddy from his mercenary troop, the player nodded his approval at this description. As Krallus stood before the open road, only one party member, the Tabaxi fighter, came out to wave goodbye. The rest sat inside in their rooms waiting for him to leave. Krallus took his first step, the very first step on his quest to find himself. The sky grew dark, the morning sun was blocked by a blood moon. And Krallus, his player, didn't even react, he just kept trudging on. This would be the last time Krallus Dawnscream was ever seen alive. The blood moon, the DM literally threw a cosmic omen at him. Something terrible is about to happen, and neither the character nor the player even blinked. That's either incredible obliviousness or incredible writing, probably both. So now Zerkek, the purple peacock god, has joined the party. A monk cleric who worships himself, played by a compulsive cheater who promised he changed. Spoiler, he has not changed. And what Zerkek does next, with the young women, with the command spell, with that peacock tail of his. It's going to make everything you've heard so far look tame. Part 2 is coming, and you are not ready.